Hello everyone, welcome to the testing class. So today we will discuss about Deloitte interview question for testing. So let's get started. So I have segregated the interview into multiple parts like Java, Selenium and Java programming interview question. So it will be very easy to identify what all questions are asked from the Java and what all from the Selenium and what all from the programming background, like what all programming question asked in Deloitte interview question for testing. So let's get started. So the first question is, as usual, tell me about yourself in brief, and you know how to explain your project. So this interview is for 3 to 5 years or 3 to 8 years of experience guy. So if you lie within this experience, then you can prepare these question. So I suggest you to start solving these question at your end, so that you will know like what all interview questions are being asked in different types of companies. Maybe there are some question those are common in different interview, but it will help you in solving or understanding the problem statement. So let's get started. First question is, why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. So as you know that there are multi-level and multiple inheritance, so you can explain like why multiple inheritance, because there are some ambiguity lies just because of multiple inheritance. So you can explain in the same way difference between final, finally, final. So this is pretty much interesting question, and I have seen that interviewer like this question very much, and they ask like, when you use finally, final, finally, finalize, what is the use of that, have you used any of them or not. Next is, explain enum and exit, how we can use enum, how we can use exit, and all those things. What will happen if we declare a string using new keyword. This is again very basic but interesting question, like how we can declare the string using new keyword, or by just declaring or assigning something in this string variable. Or so interviewer want to know that how this when you create a string using new keyword, where it will stored, and what is maybe he can ask you about string pool and how we can use that string equals, how we can use these all things. uh, Next is difference between string buffer and string builder. So what I have done is like string builder, what I used to think like string builder is something like which is not thread safe, and this is thread safe. But both of these string buffer and builder used for modifying the string, because whenever we modify a string, it used to create a new object. That's why string buffer and builder comes into the picture. What is the difference between list and set, where we have used it, and have you used these things in your framework or in your code. Next is next is what do abstraction, what is abstraction, difference between interface and abstract class. So this is again most asked interview question. Can we create object of interface and abstract class? Obviously not, but we can create a reference variable of the same. As you can see that WebDriver is an interface, and we used to write something like WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. So here WebDriver is an interface, and it used to call the reference variable using new Chrome driver class. Can we override static method? If not, why? Can we access static method by using object reference? So this is again, I mean, these questions are very important, and if you have attempted or solved the program using static keyword, then you will know like can we access a method without, I mean, can we access static method without the creating the object of the class, or by directly by the class. So you know the answer, like I mean, what will happen if I access, I mean, both the ways. Can we convert string, how can we convert string 110a to integer? So this is like parsing or converting string. Difference between break and continue, when we use break, what is the benefit of using break, what is the benefit of using continue, why is the necessity of using this, so you can explain about that. But before that, I would suggest you to at least start writing some program where you can use break, continue, and all those things, static and string buffer and all those things, because this will help you in understanding the problem deeply. And if you start solving the problem daily basis, then you are able to answer the interviewer in a good manner. Because if you do not know and you fumble at the time of interview, be it will create a negative impact, not that much negative, but obviously if interview start thinking like you don't you haven't have the practical knowledge of that, you have just gone through the theory of those concepts and you know how we can use it. But if you know the practical impact or practical uses of those things, then obviously you can answer them correctly. Next is from the selenium topic. How to get color of web element using selenium. Obviously get css property is one of the method which you can use. Explain the mechanism of implicit wait. So the when to use implicit wait, what if implicit wait expire, what would be the exception that we are going to get. So this is like no such element exception we used to get whenever we provide implicit wait, and after that if that element is not available or unable to locate the element within the time frame, then it will give you no such element exception. How will you handle hidden element? Important question. How will you upload a file without send keys? So there are, he want to know that how we can upload a file. So by sending the keys you can give the path of that file and just upload that. But what if we do not need to use the send keys? Difference between navigate.to or get. So next is how does navigation works? What is the use of submit method? So here navigation means like navigate dot to that URL, navigate dot backward, navigate dot refresh. So all those things that we can do using navigate method. And same as submit, how we can use submit. How does wait works? What is the pooling period? So here interviewer want to know about the exact working of fluent wait, like what is the necessity of using fluent wait, what are the content of this wait. Like we used to use pooling interval, we used to ignore some exceptions or no such element exception or any other exception or a time frame where it used to pool. When I say pool, it means to say it used to check like element aya ki nahi aya. So if suppose I have given a time frame like 60 second and the pooling time is 10 seconds, so in every 10 second it used to check the element aya ki nahi aya, element aya ki nahi aya, and within this 10 second if elements fine, then obviously you doesn't have to wait for that 60 second. You just if element is there, you just get out of that fluent wait loop. Next is difference between assert and verify, QA and QC. So can we provide negative priority in test ng? Again, I have seen that question, like some interviewer asked and somebody communicated me that interview asked him about the negative priority. So just try that at your end and check how to dynamically set the version range of dependency in pom.xml. Obviously when we used to download any dependency from the Maven, then it has some version. Suppose I'm using Selenium Java and it has a version number 4.8, something like that. So if I need to dynamically update that, so I must be using somewhere within the pom.xml or somewhere from the from another file. So how we can do that? Next is next questions are related to API. Difference between post, put and patch. What is the difference between authentication and authorization? I have explained this concept in very good manner, like what is the authentication and what is the authorization. Authentication is something like, I mean, if you are trying to log in somebody else, if you trying to log in with invalid password, then obviously your authentication failed. And authorization is like you are not authorized. It is the same as you are accessing a site and you are a user of that but not the admin. You are not authorized to be an admin. So that is like the thin line between authorization and authentication. How will you handle JSON request and response in rest assured? There are multiple ways where, I mean, through that you can handle the JSON request. There are some multiple library, JWay, Jackson, and there are multiple things available. What is the difference between URL and URI? Explain serialization and deserialization. This is very important. Like we used to use Pojo for the same, to I mean, converting your JSON to object and object to JSON file. So this is called serialization and deserialization. But have you used that or not? This is very important, because if you haven't used that, you are able to answer. But if interviewer asks you something in within that question, then it will be difficult for you to answer, because you haven't implemented that. So just try to use the Pojo classes, like how we can use the Pojo. How to handle form data? What is the chaining in the Postman? How to validate response in Postman? Difference between web service and API. Next is related to Java programming. Find the count of character from the given string and display the count using collection. Like automation is this. So I need to get the count of the string. I mean, keeping in mind that this is the case sensitive. So I mean, caps A is coming once, small a coming once, tn, and in this manner. You need to keep in mind that this is the case sensitive, and we need to find the case sensitive character and their occurrence. Next is convert all character from string to uppercase to lowercase and lowercase to uppercase, and print the output should consist of all uppercase character first allowed by lowercase. Print only unique character from given string using single line of code. Print largest substring from a given string having unique character with the count. Input is something like that and output is this, and count is 9. Next is print the duplicate. This is question number 5. This is number 6. Print the duplicate from the given array and print the count of duplicate. So duplicate, finding the occurrence of word or character in a string or in an array or in a list. So this is very important question, and you can see that in most of the interview you have seen that interview used to ask about these all things. So you can use hash map or normal logic to get the count of that. Next is reverse the alternative word from the given string. Java language, Java automation, and you need to reverse the alternative. Like this is the alternative, you will need to reverse. So again, you need to keep the index in mind and the alternative. Get the string in alternative and reverse it. So the basic, I mean, idea is like just split the string using space, and for 0th index ignore this, and for this next index just reverses and address into the initial string. So this is how you can achieve this. So this is all about the Deloitte interview question for testing. So if these question helps you, to please subscribe this channel, and happy testing. Thank you very much for watching this. Have a nice day.